Hi, I'm Lucy Marvellous from Fresher Bites. Today I'm going to show you how to make a really delicious, easy chili con carne. Okay, let's start off by cutting your onion. Here is your onion. This is the root of the onion and that's where the juice is that will make you cry. This is the tip of the onion. I like to keep all my bits and bobs in a little pot to make it easy to throw away. First thing we're going to do is use a claw grip to cut off the tip of the onion. That gives us a nice flat surface to do a bridge hold and cut the onion in half. Peel off the skin. We're keeping that root intact as much as possible because that will stop us from crying. Take off the thin membrane. Okay, so it's important to have a sharp knife. Make sure your knife's clean before you sharpen it. Clamp your sharpener to the table. There you go. Sharp knife's a lot safer. Bridge hold. Put the tip of your knife in near the root. Remember, we don't want to disturb the root, so don't go all the way to it. Tip in, and we're going to cut in lines from the root towards the tip. Keep your bridge hold to keep it nice and safe. Next we go across to a claw grip, sawing backwards and forwards. When it starts to move around too much, you can go back to a bridge hold. Hold the whole thing like this. There you go. Throw that bit away. That's the bit that makes us cry. In at the tip, down near the root, not all the way through the root. Like this. Following the lines on the onion. I've used red onions, but brown onions are fine, which are in fact white, have brown skin. Damien Dawes likes red onions, he thinks they're sweeter. Claw grip, slicing. You see with my nice sharp knife, it's going where I ask it to, which is much, much safer than a knife that doesn't lose its hold. There we go, there's all our bits and bobs. So there's our onion. So we can start cooking our onion straight away. We'll put our gas on, put our olive oil in. Make sure you've washed your celery, you get little bits of grit where it's grown. Claw grip, cut off the bits you don't want, little rooty bits. Nothing wrong with them, they're just a bit chewy. Next, claw grip, cut into long thin strips. You don't want to be eating great big chunks of celery in your chilli, so you want them to be quite small. Okay, and then these, you ought to really do them one at a time. Claw grip, moving your nails back as we cut each bit. I do more than one at a time, and if you've got a big knife, that's even easier. And to do your claw grip going back nicely. And your fingernails are protecting you from the sharp blade. You can see it really is nice and sharp. Carrot, again, claw grip at the ends off. Bridge hold, cut it in half. Put them on the flat side, cut each half in half. Depends on the diameter of your carrot, how small you go. Claw grip, moving back. And again, you don't want great big chunks of carrot, so nice and small. So that's your vegetables cooking. Let those cook down for a little while. Meanwhile, be opening your tins, getting everything else ready. This is one of the times where a colander comes in handy. It's a really good idea to rinse your tinned beans. Get the liquid off them. I've got this colander. I'll do it over the sink, give them a little rinse under the tap. So let those carry on browning for a good 5 minutes. I'm going to soften them up nicely. I'm going to do a caramelisation. If you've got a garlic crusher, you can crush your garlic, otherwise cut it very small or slice it. Give that little stir every now and then, a little shake. You see it's just starting to brown a little. Ridge hold, got these in slices. A bit of skin on there. Then into little strips, and then into little cubes. They can be rough, but you don't want any great big chunks. If you want them smaller, you can just keep chopping away once they're on the board. That's fine. The reason we put this in so much later is we don't want it to burn. So we want the veg to be nearly done by the time we put the garlic in. Really good tip for washing the garlic off your hands, cold water. Just run them straight under the cold tap and the smell actually comes off. Okay, that's started to caramelise nicely, and we'll add in this garlic. If you're using fresh chilli, now's the time for that. Be careful with chillies. If it's a very hot one, wear gloves. The chilli oil will stay on your fingers and you will know about it when you touch your eye or anywhere else sensitive, let's say. This isn't a particularly hot one, I'm just going to put half of it in because I'm going to use these chilli flakes as well. I'm going on it quite small so you don't want to get great big chunks of chilli. More chilli. Okay, that's nice and softened now. I'm ready to add my meat. This is 500 grams of meat. We buy it in bulk and freeze it in portions, so it's out cheaper, but 500 grams from the supermarket is fine. Chuck it all in, and then what you need to do is break it up with a spoon. You want it to brown, and you also want it to separate and not be like a burger. See, that's browning nicely, it's breaking up nicely. Now it's time for some delicious spices. We're having 2 teaspoons of cumin, 1, 2, I love cumin, it's my favourite. 2 teaspoons of ground coriander. This is the cheapest way to buy your spices. The little jars cost a fortune. A teaspoon of chilli flakes. If you're using ground chilli, really use a lot less, it's very hot. Give it all a good stir so it's all mixed in nicely with the meat. See how the meat is nicely separated now and it's nearly all brown. I'm going to leave it to completely brown. Chop up my lovely big mushroom. Mushroom completely optional. I'm sure it's not traditional in a chilli. I quite like it. Indoors is not so keen, so I'll cut it quite small. You see now that's lovely and brown and separated. Now it's time to add your tomatoes, tomato puree, chilli, beans. This is the 2 tins of kidney beans that I've rinsed under the tap. Now you're going to have to stir a little carefully, because that is a full pan of chilli. Now at this point you can add a little bit of stock, but what we like to do is add some red wine. Rinse these cans out with a little bit of red wine. And by add a bit of stock, I mean you could put in a stock cube or a stock blob and some water, and that would make you some stock. But I much prefer to rinse these cans out with a bit of red wine and use that as juice, gives it a really good flavour. Nice squidgy tomato puree. The tomato puree will give it the taste as if it had cooked longer than it has. So if you're impatient like me, that's a really good, useful thing to use. A little bit of salt and pepper. Probably don't need much pepper, we've probably got enough chilli in there. And pop my mushrooms in. So everything's in there now, and now comes the difficult bit. You've got to wait. You've got to let this simmer for at least 20 minutes, and by simmer I mean a gentle bubble, so that the carrots and the meat are definitely properly cooked. And you'll see once it's cooked, everything will be smaller and more homogeneous. The longer you can leave it, the better. If you can leave it on the hob for a few hours really low, that's great. If you can put it in the oven for a few hours, that's really good too, if you've got a casserole dish. We'll just leave it on there, nice and low, for as long as we can stand it. So for more really easy, delicious recipes and step-by-step guidance, take a look at my website, www.fresherbites.co.uk. You can get my booklet there for $4.99 plus postage with all the easy recipes in it. Or better still, why not get a download of the booklet that you can use on your phone? You can use the ingredients list as a shopping list while you're out shopping. And also, for a $4.99 a year subscription, you can get access to a film of every recipe that's in the book, and every 2 weeks there'll be another new recipe. Pop over to Facebook, tell me what you'd like to see me cooking, show me what you've been cooking, ask me some questions. It'd be lovely to see you. See you soon.